Are you ever looking for a way to express yourself when you're feeling triumphant or heroic or happy or sad? Maybe you want to do it in music. Believe it or not, besides your voice, there's one instrument that encompasses all of these emotions along with many others, and that instrument is the French horn. Today I'm going to talk to you about the French horn, and we're going to look at how the horn works, music written for the horn, and how the horn fits into different ensembles. Now, like many things in this world, you need to know how the horn works before we can talk about other aspects of the instrument. So we're going to look at how it works. This is a French horn. You notice it's very twisted. The first horn actually didn't have any of this in here or the valves. It's one long curved tube, and it was all played with your mouth. And the horn is played backwards, which makes it different from any other instrument. It's played with the left hand, and the right hand goes in the bell. You play into the mouthpiece, and the sound comes out the bell towards the back of the orchestra. The left hand plays on rotary valves, which is different from any other brass instrument. When a valve is pressed, it presses down and it redirects the air, allowing you to change notes. There's also a fourth valve called the trigger, which puts kind of two horns in one, which is what the Encyclopedia of Music calls it. This is a double horn with the trigger. It allows you to expand your range a little bit easier and to change your tone. Now that we have looked at how the horn works, we're going to look at some of the music written for horn. Now, since the French horn is so diverse in music, it can play in almost anything. Like I said before, the trigger helps you expand your range, and it also helps a little bit with your tone. Philip Farkas said in his book, The Art of French Horn Playing, fellow musicians admire the horn and recognize it for the difficult instrument it is. The French horn can play in many different genres and atmospheres. It plays in classical music, like what bands and orchestras play. It can be played at weddings and funerals for the solemn atmosphere of a funeral or the joyful atmosphere of a wedding. It can be played in jazz bands. It can also be played with choirs. It makes a very good combination with voices. You can also hear the French horn in music on the radio. In Relient K song Lion Wilson, you can hear the French horn played at the end. There are many solos written for horns. Mozart wrote 4 concertos and a concert rondo for horn. Franz Strauss and his son Richard Strauss both wrote solos for horn, and Hindemith wrote some very difficult solos as well. All of these solos, along with many others, challenge the French horn player in range, rhythm, and technique. Along with solos, horn also has a place in many different ensembles. Now, since the horn is very dynamic and has many different voices, it's allowed to fit into many different kinds of ensembles. Horn players are doubly blessed since we have a voice in both the traditional wind and brass quintets, as the Horn Handbook says. In the wind quintet, there's usually a flute, an oboe, a bassoon, a clarinet, and a French horn, which the French horn kind of stands out, but it blends very well with those woodwind instruments. The brass quintet involves 2 trumpets, a trombone, a horn, and a tuba, which makes it very brassy, very loud, march-like. The horn also has different places in the band and orchestra. In the march, the horn usually plays upbeats, and it moves along as a motor along with the tubas. In the solemn pieces, the horn has a dark tone and makes it sound very sad and remorseful. In heroic pieces, the horn is very triumphant. It has a brass-like, loud sound and makes you feel the triumph. In Reinecke's Symphony, New Day Rising, it's about the earthquake that hit San Francisco in 1906. And there are 4 movements, and the horn encompasses almost all of the emotions in the symphony along with the band. There's celebration in the beginning, there's tragedy when the earthquake hits, and there's triumph in the end, knowing that the city will be rebuilt and it will shine just like it did before the earthquake. How the horn fits into different ensembles is one of the final things that a horn player learns in their education of the horn. Now that we know a little bit about how the French horn works, the music written for horn, and how the horn fits into different ensembles, we've kind of encompassed a lot about the horn, kind of squished a lot of year-long education into 5 minutes. This small bit of information should hopefully give you an idea of what the French horn is like physically and musically. In closing, I want to leave you with a quote from the Horn Handbook by Vern Reynolds. Which instrument requires the physique of an athlete and the heart of a poet? Which instrument demands dedication, perseverance, industry, honesty, and an indefinable musical gift? Which instrument rewards the player and the listener with perfect joy? The horn, the horn, the horn, of course.